meeting.
Awesome.
Oh, it's my favorite superhero. Great. Yeah. Thank you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, Ed, share. Please, can you join us also? If it's not convenient for you to use directly the mirror board, I can do it for you. Just you can put your
Yeah.
your
Could you
choice.
please
Yes.
choose Neo? I like the
Now, yeah, with
Yeah.
pleasure, with pleasure, yeah. And your name, yeah, I can put your name. Uh-huh.
Just
Yeah.
via Sherian.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
Sharian. Yeah, beautiful
Yeah.
name. Yeah, I really love it. Sharian now. Okay, Aaron, teacher Yoda. And Ed, what is your superhero? You can say me, and I can bring this superhero for you, or you can do it directly. So can I just put your name here? Yeah, so just do this process little bit quicker, a little bit faster. So what is your superhero? Could be from this choice, or maybe there are a lot of superheroes. You can vocalize just, and I can put for you. Now I couldn't hear anything. Hey, are you with us?
I'm here. Are you asking me or no?
Yeah, I'm waiting for Ed. I'm waiting
Ed,
for
okay.
Ed Pollock. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, I see the video, and thank you very much that you turn on your video. But I don't understand. If you hear us, are you with us? Are you joining our game? You're muted. I don't know. I don't hear. I couldn't hear you. Yeah, your microphone is on in Zoom, but I couldn't hear you. Aaron, maybe you can hear it.
No, I
Can
can't
you
hear
hear?
Ed either.
I can
Also.
hear it also.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, let's go further. And Ed, you can also choose your superhero and continue with us. And yeah, can I just do this thing to group this? Oh, sorry, not wrong. It was wrong. I can just yeah, do this and do this. And our second to continue our journey, yeah, our second questions. And where you are, you as a superhero, in which environment do you exist now mostly? And to describe this field, I invite you to explore our world through one model, one of two. So now we have two beautiful models that describes our current world. Is the Canadian model, maybe you are familiar with, yeah, that Dave Snowden developed,
Yeah.
and Stacey metrics. Are you familiar with Stacey metrics also?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Aaron and share.
Sorry,
Ed,
but
what about
this
you?
is new for me. I will probably Google. I'm not sure I know the Stacey metrics. Sorry.
Yeah, I highly recommend to explore both models, because both of them give us a map how we can deal with different situations. And I used to prefer Canadian model, but now in this meetup, I would like to invite you to Stacey metrics, and it's really simple and very very intuitive, understandable. Yeah, so you can just understand by your heart. that we can have two axes, two dimensions. One dimensions, it's how far or how close we with agreement what we want, what we understand, what's happened, and what we want to achieve. It's a one dimension, one axis. And the second axis is how we can achieve that what we want, what we can do, what is our technology. So two dimensions. And if we classify all our tasks and all our work through these two dimensions, we can see that we have some simple tasks, simple environment, when we really know what to do, how to do this. And if we bring some metaphors from some famous movie, for example, Lord of the Ring, yeah, or Star Wars. It's like when you live in Hobbiton every day, you know how to prepare your food, yeah, to chat with friends, and so some simple life, yeah, as well as in this village in Star Wars. But then maybe you can start some journey, or you can you see this robots, so you start to be more complicated when requirements are not so clear. You can understand, but you have to discuss about requirements, yeah, to be agree, okay, we will go this way or this way. And your path could be different. You can choose a more more simple path or more effective path, and you can go different ways. Yeah, and now then the situation can be more complex, can be more far from certainty when you know what to do, but you don't know how to do, or otherwise you you know how, but you don't know what exactly, because you can do this, and you couldn't make an agreement what exactly we want. But we can have all the skills and some approximate metaphor is, for example, when some magic happen or when some Jedi come and they really need some additional skills and yeah, go further because it's some complex environment. And so far from agreement and from certainty is some chaos or anarchy. And examples here is some incomprehensive word that Frodo met when he turned on his ring, yeah, or for example, what happened with Anakin Skywalker when he converted to Darth Vader, yeah, so some chaotic situation, some crisis situation. And if we want to, okay, so let's stop on this and to maybe understand better from your side about these environments. What do you think? In which environment now mostly you exist? In which environment you met most tasks now, and just put your superhero. I can put it closer for you here. Just move, or you can ask me to move. In which world, simple world, complicated, complex, or chaotic, do you live now? Mostly. Of course, in our life, we have
No, you
orange.
mean it in life or you mean at work? Because they're two different things.
What do you prefer to explore? What is
Okay.
most important for you, life and or work?
I mean, in
You
terms
can
of my
choose.
life's pretty simple, so I will focus on work, which isn't.
Yeah,
So,
of course. Sure.
all right. And you want us to bring our
You can bring
picture
by
over there?
yourself. Yeah, you can bring by yourself.
Okay.
Yeah. And add
Okay.
for you. Yeah, I
Natalia,
just try.
could you please move my I mean Shriyan's logo to the complex, because it's really complex now.
Okay, Shriyan
yeah.
complex word. Okay. Okay. Ed, please join us, and if you couldn't speak, you can type in a chat. You can type, or you can go directly to the mirror board and just move your move your character. I also will move my character. Bring to front. I also will move my character. And Ed, can I move for you, or you can do this by yourself? You can, so I will move slowly your badge, and you just stop me when it's become your word. So simple, complicated, just stop me. Complex or house.
I think
Maybe
Ed
I should
is
stop.
disconnected, or he's busy right now.
Yeah. Okay, maybe it's some chaotic situation for you.
Yes. Well,
It's
for
really
you, it's
chaos.
chaos, right? So you could maybe put,
Chaos.
for you, it's chaos right now.
Yeah. And okay, to describing more precisely, but you can hear us, yeah? Ed, you are with us. Okay, great. Yeah, just follow us. So in recent in our recent past, maybe since 80s, the acronym VUCA-world appears. That means that in that time, the world become more and more complex, because in our in the beginning of the century, yeah, the previous century, the world was more complicated and even simple. But since IT technology developed and a lot of information come, and speed of life become faster and faster, the world become more complex, and the special acronym appears. And you can, on Mirrorboard, you can also, if you are interested in to deep dive, you can follow these links and yeah, read more about VUCA-world. But in 4 words, VUCA-world is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And when pandemic starts, the world become more and more chaotic. Of course, in every time of our human history, there were simple, complicated, complex, and chaotic situation. Yeah, and the question is, which kind of situation we have more in in every minute's life. And since 2020, the new acronym appears, was invented, was coined by James Cassio, that chaotic word is even worse than VUCA-world, and he named it BANI-world, brittle, anxious, nonlinear, and incomprehensive. And now I would like to invite you, and I really expected that you can join a mirror board, because I prepare for you some next game. And this game is simple. To explore these 2 specific acronyms that describes complex word and chaotic word. And what I would like to ask you to do, just make some revision of your knowledge, or maybe if you didn't know anything about, for example, BANI-world, just use your your intuition, yeah, and also understand better what is this, and match the cards. So you have here 3 type of cards: some picture, some metaphor, then some description, and some examples. And what I would like to propose you, and I really need your advice how we can organize this in our small group. Yeah, just to classify. Okay, so here this picture is about is about maybe brittleness. Yeah, because it's some cookie that it looked solid, but now yeah I can easily broke it. And okay, this description is about this. So I would like to ask you to sort these cards and how we can do this. So I see Aaron in mirror board and only Aaron. Yeah. Share. You was successful with entering the board? Can I?
Yeah, I can enter, but you can you hear me? Due to so I need to install application. Looks like mobile application. Please give me 5 more minutes. So it's really necessary to be like fully involved, yeah, in the mirror board. Because
You
on the
don't
web
need
browser version, it's not allowed me from the mobile phone to do so. So yeah,
from the mobile phone.
yep,
In
yep.
computer?
I'm still trying to look in. I was not prepared. Sorry, I thought it's okay to use on the mobile phone. Yeah. So it will take a couple additional minutes, and I'll join you shortly on the mirror board, I believe.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah,
Okay.
this looks like a great. I mean, by the way, I really want to thank you for putting all this together. This is I know how much work this is to put something like this together. You did a hell of a lot of work, actually.
Thank you very
I'm very
much.
impressed. No, I'm serious. I mean, this is this is a significant amount of content here to sort of matrix through.
Yeah, maybe we can do it this way. So yeah, because Aaron, you are able to do it by yourself, maybe, yeah, and to think, can I ask you to join this? So you are as a group too, and it's only your
okay. You
board,
want us group two?
only your
Okay,
board.
gotcha.
And for Edward and Sherian, your board is first. And when you were able to enter this board, you can just do it maybe together. Or I can make an additional board for each of us, of you. Edward, what do you prefer? Yeah, I saw that you connected with a different device, but it was also maybe you can communicate from your phone, but from your laptop, you can enter the board and you can do it silently also. Just follow the link that I put in a chat box, and you can open mirror board. This mirror board is paid version, so you don't need to register to install your app if you enter from your laptop. I don't know about mobile phone, sorry. So
No,
just
it's okay. It's okay.
yeah, just
Yeah, I
follow the
mean
link.
that's a piece that they're still, I think, working on. It's pretty good. It's okay. It's pretty good on the iPad, but on the phone it's harder. But on the iPad it's actually not bad. I use the iPad Miro at work also, and that one's actually pretty good. So now, question in this exercise, you want us to move each of these? Like you want us to move each of the boxes over to the section that we think they belong in? Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
And in each section, you will have at least one picture, at least one description or more, at least one example or more.
Sure.
Yeah. And maybe I can put a timer, just to make some maybe 7 minutes. Or if you need more time, of course, it would be more time. And Okay, so Aaron, for you, I think all is clear, and yeah, I'm just waiting share and maybe Edward. Yeah, well, I hope he has not give up. Leave us.
No, you did all this work. We should honor that with
Okay.
with doing this. So.
Natalia, just a short question. You said even via mirror application, I should join without the registration, correct?
Yes. Yeah, correct.
What should I use? I mean, when I'm trying to go by the link, it doesn't work, at least for me. I mean, I'm clicking on the that mirror board link you get us, and it's need like my permissions, but I have no them. I need to register. How to go through that? Do you know?
I mean, you should be able to just come in as a visitor.
Yeah, but where or in scope of the mobile version of application, I see like a get magic link, no password needed, and sign in or continue with like Google, Slack, and so on. So I will use my Google account. Maybe it will.
Yeah, you can use your Google account. Yeah. It's free
Yeah.
for you. You can just make this quick registration if your application, required it, and go. Oh yeah, I see you. It's you.
I am
Great.
inside here, and it's from my another phone.
Great.
I can see yours and my own. So could you please say again what should I do? I mean, how to proceed?
Yeah. Just you can follow me. Yeah.
Mhm.
Just you can. Or you can just see that it's some simple board. Yeah, you were there, and now we are on this first exercise, and the group 2 is for Aaron, and group 1 is for you personally.
Okay.
And what we do here is the instruction. Yeah, this funny fox said you some instruction, and. You can just explore this description of some characteristics, and just sort, group, match. For example, what is a volatile? What is a volatile picture? Okay, maybe this one. What is the description of volatile? So through this exercise, you can explore and understand every every. Oh, hi Stuart. Yeah, glad to see you again. Yeah, just join us.
Sorry for dropping out earlier. I had a management call, so yeah.
Okay.
I hadn't expected that on Friday evening, but yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I understand. I understand you, and maybe I can so I can prepare also the board for you.
Or you could dump him in my board, and then he could work on it with me if you want. Whatever one is easier for you guys.
In my mind, I intended to create breakout rooms to give you an opportunity to communicate, but yeah, where you're on 2 person. So yeah, what we can do? So Share can continue to use his board, group 1, and for Stuart, this third group is for you personally also, and I can create also group 4 for Ed if Ed can join us. So this group for Ed, and it's some simple exercise. And Stuart, you you were in our previous meetup, so you are very acquainted with the BANI-world, but maybe for VUCA-world it could be some new for you. And what we do, so group 3 is for Stuart and group 4 is for Edward. Just explore these pictures and descriptions and examples and match. So here is an instruction. Match these cards to each of the characteristics of VUCA or BANI-world. Just move. Okay, this is here and this is here, for example. Okay.
Could you share the link to the Miro board?
Of course. Yeah. Right. Again, post it in the chat. I can stop sharing for a moment. Yeah. Just make some glimpse what happened. Okay, so I think we need more time. So I just at least 5 minutes more, maybe more.
Natalia, can I to the mirror board one more time? I'm trying
Yes,
to
of
join
course.
from another,
Of course.
like iPad also.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Edward, how are you? Can you try to speak?
Can you hear me? No.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yes.
Oh, now you can hear me. I started over again, you know. But my system doesn't work. Miro doesn't work. And now my microphone is working. That's fine.
Yeah. It's
But
Friday evening. Everyone wants to rest.
That's true.
Are you ready now to join us?
Yeah, but I don't know why. Miro really does a strange.
So did you try a different browser? Sometimes just try a different browser.
Yeah, I'm testing it now for almost 30 minutes.
Oh.
So I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave. I thank you very much for your trouble. And for the next time, I will get my system working. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Of course. Yeah. Maybe you can see our. Maybe if it's a topic is interesting for you now, we will present our results, and you can just listen to us. What do you prefer? Yeah, so it's your choice, and I really appreciate that you join us in this Friday evening. Yeah, I really appreciate this. Yeah, maybe it was a wrong decision to set up meetup on Friday evening.
No, it's okay.
I cannot participate when Miro doesn't work. Okay, so you can go on. I will listen. Just listen. Okay.
Great, of course. Exactly. Okay, Stuart, and okay, you're working. Great. And share you also. Yeah, you can just guess, and then we can compare with some prepared answers. So in this black rectangle, this black rectangle hide the right answers. Oh, of course, there are no exactly right answer. Yeah, but close one. Mhm. Rectangle. Don't cheating. Okay, yeah, and for arrow, you
Yep.
have done. You can remove. I can remove for you this black rectangle and just compare. Yeah. Are you match? Are we with you match in our description? So just explore this.
Oh, cool. I like how you did that. Oh, interesting.
And check.
That's really cool. I like that. I like that, actually. That's
Thank
great.
you. Thank you. Yeah, of course, metaphors, it was my guessing. So for metaphors, I am not pretend to be right, but yeah, for description, this description is
Mhm.
from experts. So it was
Mhm.
not mine invention. And yeah,
Sure, sure.
you can check.
Cool.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
Mhm. Yeah, you can share your thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny, the pictures I didn't do as well in. So I think that's a visual thing. I'm not as much of a visual learner, or deciphering, I guess would be the right way to put it, breaking it down. So yeah, so it's actually good that you mix these two together, actually. Great.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, you agree with the comparing in comparing that with this below answers, or
Yeah.
maybe for some of them you have different vision and
Well, it's funny. So I had yeah. So I had the asteroid coming as incomprehensible, and they had it as anxious. So
Mhm.
I think that one, I mean, it depends. I mean, it's comprehensible from a science perspective. It's just not very comprehensible from a human living standpoint. So I think that's why I put it like that.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. Okay, and what is your progress, Stuart? And share? Can you, share with
Actually,
us?
actually, I'm not so fast now. I wasn't ready for such kind of game. So sorry about that.
It's
Maybe I
okay.
need
It's okay.
more time, or I,
Mm-hmm.
or I also can just a listener. For sure, it will take more time. So I'm just joined, and I want to understand each part, not just by guessing, but
Okay.
yeah, and can it the both
Yeah, I
for now.
understand. I
Yeah,
understand. Yeah, and also you join us, join this game much more uh, later. Uh, but yeah,
yeah,
Stuart was in our previous meetup about BANI-world. Maybe we can organize our next, because I really want to save your time also, yeah, because it's only middle of our meetup, and we have second or even third exercise. Maybe we can now share screen, and maybe Aaron can share your thoughts, because you have this time to do everything. I
Yeah.
can just share my screen one
Yeah.
moment.
Just share your screen and then
Yeah, and also
I can go over it.
yeah,
Yeah.
great. Just navigate me which part of the screen I have to show.
Sure. Well, I mean, I think what I really do like the way you set this up as having I didn't look below, so I didn't even know there was an answer key, and I think it was really great that you did it like that, because then you know, you could compare it, which I think, and I mean, to be very honest, like the fact that it was both written examples and the visual and an answer key, like all three put together, I think it's just it's like I don't know if you know liberating structures, but it has a liberating structures feel. I use LS at work a lot, and so yeah, I'm going to use this actually at work. So the I mean, what I really liked about doing this, combining also, and combining the VUCA and the BANI together is nice too, is the fact that it makes you start, like you start thinking about it like a heuristic at a certain point, right? I mean, sure, you're reading what each one says, but then you start actually imagining it. And I think that's really very useful, because they're able to take these examples and sort of look at them, not just to try to like do the problem right, like you're in grade school, like in primary school, but you're trying to actually understand which, like what anxious means, like from that context, or what something that's nonlinear, because some of these get close to each other, right? Something that's nonlinear and something that's complex and something that is ambiguous or incomprehensible, it's a close, it can feel like a close cluster of all of those together.
And interconnected, of course.
Yeah, obviously, exactly. And how they represent each one of those is, I think, important. And it makes you, I think this is a good warm-up to start understand. I don't know if this is your goal, but to start figuring out where you might be in a Stacey matrix, or in a Cynefin cycle, right? Like if you did this as a warm-up, then because most people coming in, they just left the last meeting, PowerPoint, spreadsheets, Teams, Slack, the usual, pile of, fake agile to maybe agile type activities. And it's all very, it's very task oriented. And so flipping your head, opening yourself up basically to this type of thinking before you start modeling differently, I think is very important. And I really like how you organize that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the tool is from TBR, training from the back of the room, and exactly it was a warm-up.
Yeah.
Now in this meetup, it become some big and some complex exercise, but in fact, in my mind, it was really warm-up before the real exercise. And real exercise is now when you are familiar with the topics, and for Stuart and share, yeah, you can just, if you didn't have enough time to think and sort these cards, you can just remove this blocks and yeah, just check and read, yeah, ready answers. And now we have about 20 minutes, yeah, before we close our workshop, and I really wanted to invite you to the main exercise. And main exercise is to create some toolbox for solutions. So now you are acquainted with the characteristics with VUCA and BANI-world, but for what?
Yeah.
It was only knowledge, but if we know which tool we can use to deal with this, we can be prepared and we can really not give up with this chaotic and complex world, but even create some prosperous business. So what I would like to offer you to think about this, and I also need your help to to understand how to organize our work, because in my mind it was some breakout rooms. So let me explain you the field. It's the same field, but instead of characteristics that you can bring from this, here are some advices how you can deal with this word. For example, for volatileness, we have to create a vision. For uncertainty, we can deal with understanding. For complex word, we create clarity, and for ambiguous situation, we need agility. So VUCA answer for VUCA word. And here is a small link to the authors, to experts, yeah, who proposed this answer. And the same for BANI word. We have BANI answer, and here also link to the source. So for BANI word, for brittleness, we have to have a B plan, second plan, yeah, to have several options. For anxious, we need to raise our awareness. For non-linearity, we have to throw out our expectation and to be ready to everything. And for incomprehensible, we need our intuition. And what I prepare for you, I like to just to maybe motivate your brain to think. It's some books that you can just go to the link and open and see what is the book. I don't have any referral link, so it's poor link to Amazon. Yeah, I don't have some referral fee for this. And what I have referral links, it's some OKR system, because I am an OKR expert. And when I first time have read about BANI-world and about this recommended solution, my first mind, oh, wow, OKR exactly cover all of these needs. And what I would like to do now with you, just explore for each of characteristics what is the proposed solution from the expert. It's on this rectangles. Then you can I can explore. You can see, because it's some picture, how OKR can work with this, and also some recommendation of book when you can find some information. And what I would like from you to add your own thoughts, to write on the sticker, or maybe just open Amazon and find some book. So just put new knowledge in this common field. And as we small group, we can do it now together with this field. Just turn on your microphones and go to this maybe also only. So maybe we can not to divide, but otherwise do it together. What do you think? How do you feel?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think this is great.
Fine for me.
Yeah.
Ah.
So do you want us to work together doing this, or do you want to do it
Yes.
independent? Okay. Okay.
I think, yeah, now maybe we have 20 minutes, yeah, to work together, and maybe you wanna start with some specific field that you have mind that, oh, okay, I wanna share my thoughts about this or this. So we can go in sequence, yeah, from the left to the right, or we can do it spontaneously from your ideas. From which part you wanna play this game?
Yeah, but we could go left to right. I think that might be good.
Yeah.
Okay, left to right. So the first is vision. Yeah, because volatility is the very unpredictable changes of our future, and we need some solid vision, maybe less specific, but some direction, yeah, to focus.
Yeah, so I would say maybe blue ocean, like the blue
Blue,
ocean.
oh, great, blue ocean.
Yeah,
Yes, blue
like,
ocean.
Yeah, I think that one probably is pretty good.
Yeah, it's really great. Similar with the specific tools is exponential organization, XO. Do you hear about this XO, exponential organization, Salim Ismail? If not, I highly recommend this book because they have a specific solution to create blue ocean. Okay, what else? What else we can use to create a vision?
Yeah, hold on one second here. So you were saying, and which book was that? That was the developmental. Oh, I'm sorry.
Exponential
organizations.
Yeah,
Okay,
you
cool.
can just put and open.
Sure. Okay, cool. Thanks so much.
Yeah, and also you can find some book and put here, just copy paste. Yeah, it would be great to create this common. And what other tools can help us to create the vision?
Well, I mean, I do a lot of stuff with Lean, Six Sigma over the years, and so there are tools like Hoshin Kanri, which is the house of strategy. That's part of Toyota production system. So that's, I don't know if you're familiar with that, but that's an approach that you can use that for a mature enough organization. That's a tool that I use pretty regularly.
No, thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
One of our clients, they use Hoshin Kanri, and then they noticed that when they create all of this A3 plan, situation become changed, and they have to to change all of this, and they move to OKR instead of Hoshinkan.
Sure. Well, I mean, I think what, I'm not a big either or in life. I mean, unless you want to get rid of every family member you've ever met, that's fine. But, because if you go either or, it's just like you're left with very little, right? So it's like I tend to kind of make things more gray zone. So Hoshinkan Re, I found as a journey process is very powerful.
Yeah,
as an
amazing
execution framework, I think you're right. I think OKRs tends to be more of a daily, weekly, monthly kind of approach that works well, like just how you live, how people actually get things done. But I think if you have a very immature group of people working on something, or it's a brand new area, meaning people don't really have sound market background in the area, research, they don't know the market, they don't know the geography, etc. The process of going through Hoshinkan Re to actually understand what you're really competing in, I think is really powerful. And I think OKRs, OKRs aren't built really to do that, right? That's not the purpose of OKRs. It's if you take some 24-year-old who has an MBA and doesn't know anything, OKRs aren't going to help them understand the Brazilian automotive market, right? That's not what OKRs can do, but Hoshinkan Re can help you do that, right? So I think that's why they're complementary. I tend to view it as they're fairly complementary. But anyways, I come from that industrial world where it's a lot of flow, a lot of pull production processes, things like that. So that's like my bias. My bias is around flow and pull methods, theory of constraints, things like that. So, which I know doesn't work in a lot of industries really well. It's harder to implement in a lot of it. Like services, it's very hard to implement pull and flow structure.
So it requires some expertise and some maturity from.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if expertise even works. I think the challenge is that the economic model in a lot of services is very dependent on the next incremental order and contract. And contracts tend to be batch. And so if you're attempting to have flow in a batch financial environment, that's hard to do in manufacturing, even for obvious reasons, because you have a fixed amount of expected output, and flow in some ways is counter to that model, really, in a lot of ways, actually. So I think that's so when a service company signs a big 3-year contract, and you're sort of bending your people into that, it's hard to put a flow pull system together around that, especially because there's change orders that go in while you're in a fixed contract, right? So they're both kind of in conflict with each other, if that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so we have a lot of tools
Sorry, I
about
went
vision.
down the whole.
Yeah,
Sorry, I
great,
didn't mean to
great.
go so far down the track there.
It's really for what you are joining this meetup, to share ideas. It's why we're now on Friday evening just sitting there. And okay, for understanding, for uncertainty, we can deal with understanding. And what, for example, some experts, suggest just make some review very in some ongoing way, continuous evaluation, scoring, and just track results and do some scenario planning and so on. So in OKRs, we have this weekly check-ins, for example, and also I put some book about scenario planning. Maybe you can also propose some tools or ideas what we
Yeah,
can
I
do.
mean, I've used a little bit on and off over the last 5 years, the whole concept of strategic forecast, foresight and strategic forecasting. I don't know if you've, heard of any of that, but it's the foresight stuff's pretty, it's definitely different. It makes you think substantially differently about what you're working on and why, and what could be around the next curve, right? I mean, so I think, I would also say maybe Cynefin, right? There's a Cynefin books now that are they're pretty, they wrote a book a few years ago, I want to say 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
So yeah, we can use Cynefin or Stacey metrics also. They are very, very similar.
Exactly.
Yeah, to understand, to navigate.
That's right. That's right.
Navigate. Yeah, great. Thank you.
I would say it's also analytics, data analysis can help you to figure out new information.
That's a great point.
Data analysis.
So, yeah, so putting in like an analytics framework to begin with, right? Just to capture all the data, right? Is that what you're saying also? I'm just asking.
Definitely.
Yeah, so in big data, yeah, that we discussed. Yeah, we discussed for BANI-world, but for VUCA-world also, yeah. So VUCA-world is about complex world from Stacey metrics, or as well as from Cynefin, and BANI is for chaotic. Okay, can we go further? Yeah, to have some time to explore some BANI-world also, not only VUCA-world, because VUCA-world was in our recent past, but now BANI-world is more and more just grab our space and time. For clarity. So for clarity, experts recommend to communicate clearly with people, to just be transparent and specify everything that you are communicating with them. And in OKRs, for example, is some clear formulating of goals, very clear, very specific, and alignment vertically and horizontally. What other tools, other ideas you have how to create clarity in company, in our work, to deal with complexity?
I mean, I think having alignment of purpose is pretty important. I think there's pretty weak, alignment when it comes to people understanding why, the business exists or to do what. So when you look at the degree of the strategic, like what's the strategic intent, right? So I think there tends to not be very clear strategic clarity in most organizations. It tends to be this sort of very generic thing, which is we want to grow 22%. That doesn't help me every day. If it's we want to grow 22% and prioritize our digital solutions in that growth for the Southeast Asian market, that's our priority because that's our strategic intent, that's our strategic clarity. So that helps a lot, because then it steers people, you know. And I think that's the issue, is that most clarity, or most attempt at clarity masks kind of it almost it's like the clarity is just transparency, which is fine, but if it doesn't give you a direction, it's sort of just like, I don't know, what do I do with this, right? It's like, good luck, hope the clarity works out for you, you know. So I think clarity that is aligned to a single strategy that reflects the organization's strategic intent, that you can associate the organizational performance with, you know, then that it's so I would almost argue there should be like a graph of high or low strategic clarity. And so an organization with higher strategic clarity, my bet is, outperforms ones with lower strategic clarity. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Stuart, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it makes sense, but nevertheless, I think that most people really don't work like this.
No, you're right.
They're
You're
not
absolutely right.
like really analytical and clear about the goals and all that. They're just having a much smaller space in which they work. So I think that what helps them a lot, which is of course also already mentioned in the next one, that's agile approach from my perspective. So the agile approach is clear that is also covering the transparency. And one of the major things all of the different agile frameworks actually address is a high level of collaboration. I think it's very important, and that's encouraged by that. Yeah.
Yep, I agree with you 100%.
That's definitely something you can work down complexity to kind of break it into little pieces, work on little pieces, and see how this again working in this whole complex system. Is it a good outcome? Is it not? But you're adopting immediately if it's not the right thing you're looking for. So yeah, it's a step-by-step approach to make it more clear for the people, easier to understand it. I think that's important.
Yeah, I think 100% right.
Yeah, we are not all having an IQ of 180, so it's, I mean, you have to work with the people you have, and
and the motivations are different too, right? I mean, a lot of people are not motivated to really care too much about the success institutionally of where they work, including their clients. And so, yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I think that is the advantage the agile frameworks have, is that they can provide they can localize that clarity, basically, right? I think that's the key, is they can localize that.
Yeah, very good point.
Yeah, so agile approach, agile mindset, maybe even that. Not just some framework, but mindset maybe could be a solution for all of these challenges of VUCA-world.
Yeah.
Okay, and we now have a lot of solutions for VUCA-world. Can we move to BANI-world?
Yes.
We plan, awareness, no expectation, and intuition. And about the plan, experts recommend to improve your resilience, and capacity, and have the plan. And so now I just put here some books about resilience and anti-fragile by Nassim Taleb, but maybe you have also interesting ideas about this.
Yeah,
some book recommendations.
Fragile guy, isn't it the one who wrote also the book about the black swan?
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Yep. Nassim Taleb.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something I was thinking of, kind of prevent, or not, well, we can't prevent the black swan, but at least you can have a plan B to deal with it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So another one that I like a lot is Do Hard Things. It's by it's by Steve Magnus. So it's understanding resilience and how we how we often don't understand how resilience works in people. And so I think that's one I like a lot. And I do a lot of outdoor stuff, and you know,
can you please write down on a sticker by your hand? Yeah, because maybe I can mistype this.
Just do hard things. Do hard things. That's all.
Do hard things.
Yeah.
That's the name of the book.
Yep, that's the name of the book, and the last name is Magnes.
Maybe we
Good
can
book
find.
for parents too. I mean, it's a good. I mean, my kids are grown up, but it's also
this book.
Let me see right now. Let me double check. I was not looking.
I share my screen.
Yep, that's the book.
Oh, great! So I can put the book here.
Yes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
with link.
And I think I would also include when it comes to brittleness, engaging the physical world. I just think that's important. The mechanical, the physical world, the environment. It changes how we respond. Our patterns, sort of our rhythm, if that makes any sense. You know, so when you have to go outside and help someone rake leaves, it's a different rhythm than when you're trying to, run an agile stand-up. The friction is different. And so I think one way to counter or to understand brittleness is to have a lot of sort of experience going through mental, psychological, and physical, emotional friction, and being able to understand kind of where you as an individual or as a team can coexist in that and get through it together collectively. Does that make sense?
Some kind of training or some personal experience, or what? How we can write down this? How we can?
Yeah. So I'll give you a very simple example. So I do most of my meetings. I do with my own teams that I have, authority around. The first 5 to 10 minutes of the meeting, and everybody knows this, so it's not like a big deal. In the beginning is weird, but once, after that's over, everyone is comfortable with it. Everybody takes their phone with them, and we go for a walk in the first 5 to 10 minutes of the meeting. Like everybody, wherever you live, doesn't matter. Just walk outside your house, change your clothes, go for a walk around a block, 2 blocks to your park. Like, I don't care. Just go walk. Go pick up something at the store. It doesn't matter. There's no rules. And so we take the first 5-10 minutes, that upfront BS time that everybody spends, and we do that. And then we get back, the first, 10 minutes or so, and we sit back down and we start. And we've already started because we already were talking outside to each other, listening, seeing the environment around us, smelling, moving our bodies. And so we get into a flow together at that point because we've actually shared something exactly the same. Like we've gone walking together, even if someone's in Mexico, India, US, 2 time zones, England, it doesn't matter. So what I've discovered, and I sort of just randomly invented this. This was no like big strategy. I just, at one point, this was during COVID. At one point I was like, all right, guys, like you know, how many calls have you taken? And people were 5, 3, 12. I mean, crazy numbers. I'm like, I got an idea. Just hear me out. And then I said, worst case scenario, it doesn't work. So what? We go back to what everyone else does that's miserable. I said, let's switch over to, you know, because we're on Teams. And I said, just switch over, which is, that's a nice thing about Teams, is the switching between devices is actually pretty easy. A bunch of other stuff in Teams is sort of annoying, but for that, it's really good actually. And so we switched over to phones. I said, let's go for a walk and just start talking about our stuff. And what you realize, number one, people come more prepared because you're not looking at a slide while you're walking, you know, and your spreadsheet or whatever, right? So you come a little more prepared to the meeting. And you have more of an extemporaneous discussion, right, between each other, right? It's a lot more developmental and collaborative. And then, but it's not long. I mean, it's 10 minutes, maybe max. And sometimes though, I've had some meetings where people are like, let's just do the whole meeting walking. And I said, all right, like I just let them roll. Like I don't try to control it. And we've done that a few times. So that's a big thing I've added that has made a huge difference. What I found that's interesting, it's not a very big deal, but human beings are pattern creatures. And when we think something's weird, even if it's not really that weird, because going for a walk isn't very weird, but in the corporate world, that feels weird. It's an invented weird. It's not really weird. By the way, my friends who work in healthcare, they do this all the time. A lot of hospitals or big health centers, they often have like a track that people walk on around the whole thing. And if you noticed, if you ever go by a big healthcare center wherever you live, you'll see them walking around together talking. And sometimes they even bring stuff that they're reading or whatever, or a tablet or something that they're looking at. So they do this. I didn't know this. I talked to friends that work in healthcare and they said, oh yeah, I've done this forever. Like that's all they've known. And so this happens. This is real.
Doesn't feel like work in the first place, isn't it? So that's, you know.
Yeah, but you get to a comfort level, and the big thing I noticed is the friction goes down between people. Like at a blunt level, they're just not as difficult with each other, you know, and all of us, you know, it's like we just aren't, you know, people can, and it makes sense, right? Because you have your screen in front of you, next meeting, your data. Like I in my mind, I'm like, I'm gonna go after you with this. I saw you made this statement in the slide 5, like that's the one I'm gonna go zero in on. But when you're walking around and you're talking about like, guys, do you like this presentation we're doing? And it's like, it seems a little long, it's a little redundant. Okay, well, you know, like how would you do it? Like how would we really do it differently? And we're all talking, like we're not in front of the slide yet. So we're gonna get back to that or whatever it is that we're making and or we're discussing. And what I found, and I've worked in a lot of work in manufacturing environments, and I realized people do this all the time in manufacturing. We just don't call it this, right? So we do basically all these 3M type stand-ups. We do Gemba walks. So we're doing this. It just has a little more formalism to it. And this is kind of the corporate version is what I've discovered. But I'll tell you this much, there's a lot of resistance. People feel, especially executives, like I've only gotten 2 executives to do this, 3. I've gotten 3 to do it. 1 was trying. 1 does it all the time. One of my 2 bosses does it all the time with us. He loves it. He's the one that actually says, hey, let's go for the walk. Like he's the one who wants to do it. And I have another one that he comes along, but you could tell he feels it's like this like authority psychology that people have. And I saw it when I was in the Army, you know, if someone's a colonel, they're supposed to be a colonel, whatever the hell that means, you know, and I was enlisted, I was a sergeant, you know, platoon sergeant and things like that. And, you know, so you're always with people, like it's just natural. But people who are separated, and that's, I think, what it is, people who get separated from the people doing the work feel there's this this authoritativeness in that distance, and that you have to have this, it's almost stiff upper lip kind of professionalism that's artificial. It doesn't really add much value, actually. So anyways, that's sorry I went down a whole blind alley on this thing, but
yeah, it's very interesting. And what when you talk about this, just try to write down
Yeah.
the maybe core thought, and yeah, to conclude. So go out from the building, or even get out from the building. Yeah.
Yeah, the matrix,
And
absolutely.
to the real physical world, and maybe it's in
That's right.
between anti-fragility and awareness. Yeah,
Yeah.
can
And
help us to be
exactly.
anxious,
Yep.
because with anxious, the emotional intelligence and some mindfulness, and maybe
Yeah.
what else we can
Liberating
add here.
structures. I use liberating
Liberating.
structures a lot at work. And like we have a group that we actually goes to meetings together, and like outside meetings, and and it's like a thing, and if you got any experience with liberating structures, it's neat. And I'm starting to play around with throwing LS. I'm totally making this stuff up. It's like there's no rules. I'm calling it walking LS, where and then they can't be complicated. Obviously, it doesn't make sense, but trying to throw some of the LS in while we're doing our little walks, and people like it. I mean, they really do. It's like you said, it doesn't feel like work. It feels like we're normal people together.
And also a team and an individual coaching, maybe.
That's right.
And what else? What could be also? We can go.
My problem with those awareness things, and they're always well, not always, yeah. But if you're being too mindful, this is switching into kind of a cancel culture situation.
Yes,
that is something
that's a good point.
Don't want to get into. I think this is really terrible.
Yeah, so it's a great point. So there's this and we haven't figured this out. It's just the reality. So we've opened up the black hole in ourselves the last 5, 10, 15 years, right? Where you can go to the enormous amounts of emotional or psychological availability, awareness, intimacy, just like it's like this black hole. It just keeps going, and it's sort of like generates its own energy, right? Because things you never thought about, think about, and you bring back up. But we haven't put we haven't constructed healthy boundary conditions in this, and we're still in this sort of exploration phase. It's almost like the age of reason, but for your mind. And so anybody who tries to put a governor, a break, a little detour, is viewed as being against it, right? It's labeled as, because I'm trying to put some boundaries around this, like how much do we share? And it's one of the reasons I use liberating structures a lot, because they allow you to explore, but with very tight boundaries, right? Because you have a very codified heuristic of what the structure is. And so I found you can, and the biggest rule is time as a scarcity, right? So that's what's great about it. You can limit something to 2 minutes or 1 minute or 3 minutes. And it's hard for people to go all the way down the black hole in 2 or 3 minutes, right? It's just, so they kind of have to summarize that stuff, or get, or not overshare. And so I found that sort of the best techniques I've stumbled through that seem to reduce that, but it is a real issue. It's a real fundamental issue because everything then turns everything into victimology. Everybody's a victim of existence. And it's like, we're back to Voltaire in the 1760s, 70s, and 80s. And it's like, okay, how does that help us deliver our next piece of incremental value? It just doesn't.
Yeah, okay. And about time, now
Yeah.
we're about time to finish our meetup, but we have also two characteristics: no expectation and intuition. Maybe we can work with both of them in the same time. So about no expectation, experts recommend us to use context and adaptability. And I put here this Scrum cycle, Agile cycle, and also some incremental work. What else? And if for intuition, okay, yeah. What else here?
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing I've been doing. I mean, I used to like tutor kids in like science and literacy, things like that years ago, and same age as my kids were then. And I kind of went back through some of those, 6th, 7th year type intro to science textbooks, right? And they do a really nice job in introducing hypotheses, and I never really thought of it as like a thing adults should reread and relearn. And I think when it comes to things that are incomprehensible or nonlinear, spending more time studying, let's say methods of empiricism, basic empiricism, like basic, right? Like scientific hypothesis, or doing hypothetical exercises. Doing some exploratory exercises, where you play with things. So serious play. So I've not done a lot. I've sort of participated. I haven't like developed this at all. It's just stuff I've done as an end user. But there's something that happens in serious play that seems to be different.
Done with Lego, or was it?
Yeah, so my neighbor, she used to work at Lego for 15 years. So she literally, and I lived in northern New Jersey, and so she literally invited me to things that were like their corporate things. It was awesome. I mean, it was crazy. It was great. And like their intro, not where they got into the real strategy, but like their first day or half a day, they would do these intros. And then I stumbled on a few others in meetups over the last 5 years. Read some books, things like that. But there's something that happens when people are doing serious play around a table and with some type of clarity of purpose, some north somewhere that I think matters. I think that something happens there in our brains together where we self-discover. And that's what led me into thinking, doing a little more experimentation. People don't experiment anymore. They really don't. I mean, I cook. So I grew up, my mom was a chef, and my grandparents on both sides were farmers. So I grew up around people trying things around food, and that felt normal. Like, I know it's actually not normal because most people kind of freak out whenever I kind of throw things together, and I'm like, don't worry, if it's not good, we'll order pizza. It doesn't matter. It's no great loss in society, right? But people view it as like, no, you're killing a baby. I'm like, no, I'm just mixing Korean and Mexican food, and if you don't like it, I'll make some lentil soup. I mean, it's like not a big deal. And but we have this heuristic that like, don't break that, don't touch that. That has to be uniform. And I think people doing experimental activities is really important, because we don't do it. We don't I mean, people get so genre, right? Just even look at how they read. People just read the same stuff, right? They like, I only like 1980s sci-fi comics or whatever. Like, people get really weird about a thing and they get lost into it. And today it's so easy because there's so much information. So you could get lost into 19th century lampshades if that's your thing, and you become that. And then it's like, well, how about all this other stuff? Like, it's not going to hurt you. It's not going to bite. Like, you know, and people get really afraid of doing that. So what my weird idea with this is, and you can imagine, I wasn't a big fiction reader growing up, but I've become one, and I understand it now. Like, I understand why I should have been more of one, because you imagine more. And I think reading more fiction across eras, generations, is actually important. The more, like, I got into James Joyce like a year or two ago, and, you know, it's pretty hard. And so, you know, I mean, even for people who really love fiction, it's hard, difficult, challenging. And there's something about that is special, that I'm sort of tumbling through. The other one too is music. I think music, poems, opera, things like that, that are telling these imaginary stories that you have to suspend yourself and get into. And I think that's the whole point, is you have to somehow suspend what you're doing right now, you know, heating up your pot for tea or something, and go somewhere else for that 20 minutes, whatever it is. And I think figuring out how to practice that a little more is important for people. So I know that probably doesn't fit the corporate answers for intuition and expectation. But I'll be honest, I don't think, because I've been through these exercises in the corporate world, if people aren't doing some of this stuff going into the exercise is worthless. I mean, it's the same garbage on the wall every year. I mean, and it's garbage. I mean, let's just be honest. It's all this, we're number 5th place, but we need to beat Tesco. I'm like, okay, well, saying it isn't going to beat them. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the issue. The issue is, like, we didn't conceive of saying it. The issue is all of the ingredients, and we don't have those ingredients. So how are we going to imagine, like, what would we have to change and innovate around? And so I think a lot of the innovation exercises there are. So there's a whole universe of innovation exercises, which I've just started getting into at work. We have a team that this is kind of what they do. And, you know, I think there's stuff going on there that's pretty important. Mind maps, the whole, all the brainstorming type activities, you know, ideation. I'm totally new to this stuff. I mean, just like as an end user, that's all. I haven't led workshops into this at all, but I've experienced it, and it's different. There's stuff that's going on that's different. Like, there's an exercise I did. It was really awesome. You should look it up. It's called 30 circles. I never could think of this. Like, it'd make 1,000 years I wouldn't have thought of this. And so you put 30 circles on a, you know, big 11 by 17 or whatever large piece of paper. And then 30. Yeah, 30 empty circles. And then you basically have a challenge, whatever that is. And then you use those 30 circles to fill in stuff, you know, that you conceive of in that challenge. And then everybody goes around the room and shows and explains, you know, what they were meaning as they went through this.
Yeah.
And it's really easy. It's like a kid's exercise, like, you know, 7-year-olds would do, you know, first year of primary school or whatever. But yeah, so there's a bunch. So I think there's something with drawing. There's absolutely, as human beings, there's something with us making marks, right? Using some implement to make a mark, play with shapes, you know, do things that are tactile, basically material. There's something there that I think is really important. And we don't do this in the corporate world at all. Like, we just don't. right? I mean, that's not what people do. It's spreadsheets, PowerPoints, you know, Tableau, whatever the data dashboard is now, you know, like that's all it is. It's just this rinse, repeat. And then we throw some workshops in and then we say, great ideas. How do we get to first place? You know, and it's like, you know, yeah. And I'm big into football, soccer, and, you know, and I, you know, it's a very hard sport, but it's a very simple sport at the end of the day. It's team construction, it's system of play, and it's a management organization that's willing to go for it and stick with it for 5 years, right? You know, at least. And, you know, and then get the whole community behind it, right? I mean, that sounds simple, and it kind of is, but it's extremely difficult because each of those steps involves 20, 30 sub-steps of commitment that people really don't do. They talk about doing sometimes, but they really don't follow through and do it, right? People say, oh, we need a real great central midfielder that can anchor play. We need a spine, great goalkeeper, great center back, great striker, great central midfielder. 20 years later, they've never had 4 of those in those 20 years, right? And it's like, really? You've had 80, you've 40 transfer windows, right? Like, it isn't like there's not these humans out there, right? It's you lack the real commitment to follow through. Because what I've recognized is that it's easier to say these words than the implications of what happens when you do this. Because when you do this, it's a forcing function. People do not like forcing functions. You know, it forces something on people when you actually make these decisions. You change things. You know, it's you know, you add that central midfielder, you know, that you know, by, you know, like Vidal when he was at the peak of his play or whatever, or Pogba when he was at the peak of his play, whoever that player is, that changes everything. Like, it changes your team. And that means you have to make all these other decisions that you really don't want to make. And you just don't want to admit that. And so everyone just, I argue, I call it strategy theater, right? People do a lot of strategy theater. They're just doing a lot of theater all the time.
I wrote down this, that we need ongoing discipline to implement the decisions that we made.
Yeah,
For
absolutely.
all of this.
And I think there's a lot of discipline frameworks that come from psychology, come from operations research, or operations theory, that people don't like. They just don't like, and humans don't like discipline. We don't like performance. We don't like discipline because we're these weird metabolic engines, right? We've got this huge head, which requires enormous energy, food, you know, rest, you know, very controlled conditions, right? We don't operate really well when it's really cold, really hot. So we're lazy. I mean, we're just fundamentally lazy, like at an engineering level. And then we have to have a forcing function to not be lazy, and then more forcing functions to create performance, and then more forcing functions to have discipline. And then outside of that, to have a strategy and everything else that you follow through on and implement through discipline and performance and so on. You know, and I don't think we ever really talk about this. We just sort of pretend it doesn't exist, and you see it everywhere.
It's a very good conclusion of our meetup. Yeah, what we can bring to our ongoing discipline to get more prepared for VUCA and BANI-world. And Stuart, yeah, please, you said we are saying in the same time. Sorry, I interrupt you.
I want to say goodbye. I've just had a call from my government. Dinner is ready. Unfortunately,
yes, the real government, the real government, because you need to keep the metabolic engine fully fueled, right? It's very important, very important.
Nice, it was great again.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much.
Nice evening. And
have a good evening.
Bye bye.
Yeah.
Bye. Have a great weekend.
Send the record. Yeah.
If you could. And by the way, I don't know if it's possible. If you can export this as like a PDF. I don't know if that's something you can do or not. But
I will try. I will try,
yeah.
but yeah, maybe screenshots are better. Yeah, because in PDF you can have some mess of frames.
No, because the stuff you have is fantastic. It really is. I mean, it's really
Yeah,
great.
thank you, thank you. Maybe it's easy for you to make some screenshot because for
Yeah.
PDF I afraid that it would be a mess of
Sure.
just unsorted frames.
Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
try, but I'm not
Okay.
sure that it will
And by the
be.
way, Natalia, thank you so much for all this work. I mean, you know, it's really amazing. I mean, I really appreciate it.
Thank you, and I appreciate your impact and your participation and your great idea, and I really enjoy our conversation, and I would like to keep in touch and maybe imagine
Definitely.
some different
Definitely.
meetups.
I'll come to the next one, I promise.
Thank you. Great.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Have a great weekend.
You too. You too.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Edward. Goodbye. Goodbye.